Good evening, Los Santos. This is Lila Catanzaro reporting for Weasel News. Election season is upon us, and over the past 2 weeks, incumbent Mayor Jackson Crane and his opponent, Sergeant Jacob Lee of LSPD, have been making their presence known through the city. From last week's meet and greet to impromptu chats with local citizens and businesses, the two have been on the move, informing LS about everything they stand for. Tonight marks the final event, which will be held here tonight as a moderated and timed debate. Thank you, gentlemen. We are ready to begin. All right, great. For these first two questions, there's not going to be any rebuttal done. I'll give you each 1 minute to answer. The question that we're going to start off with is this. As a young city, retaining new arrivals is an essential part of allowing Los Santos to blossom. What would you consider your greatest contribution when it comes to encouraging new people to stay? And we'll begin with Sergeant Lee.
Well, honestly, over my time with LSPD, we run into all kinds of people. We run into new arrivals to the city looking for directions to different places. We run into new arrivals looking for, their weapons license, giving them different kinds of advice on places to check out in the city. We do run into plenty of people while we're out patrolling, getting to know some of them, trying to help them out where we can. All of those things are very important to me, as well as, it's one of the reasons that I wanted to be a co-lead of the Public Relations Community Outreach Division of LSPD, is so that I could be able to do these things as well. That's why, planning events has been important. That's why over the course of the campaign trail, even getting out, meeting people, talking to them, finding out what, interests them, what kind of things they're looking for. All of these things, I believe, are very important to fostering a feeling of unity with the citizens, feeling, making people feel like we're one big family.
Sergeant Lee. Thank you. Mayor Crane, same question.
My biggest contribution, I think, and plan for the future of taking care of and introducing new people into the city is going to be the Welcome Wagon program. It is a new start program that is going to be funded by the government and ran by volunteers such as CC, Rockwood, Bear, Morgan Silva, Amelia Silva. Basically, where the advertising is done right there at the bus station for new individuals, and when they arrive here, they will contact one of those people and they can be toured around the city, introduced to businesses, hot spots and locations where they can find food, maybe start to get their weapons license, where they can get clothing, other essential things that they need to know if they're going to be a full citizen here. And just kind of really give them that warm welcome feeling to be in here, because when you're new in a place and you don't know anybody, it can be a very scary, isolating thing. And we ideally like the Welcome Wagon to feel like a nice pair of warm arms wrapping around you and welcoming you here. And hopefully it encourages people to keep staying.
Okay, thank you. Next question. What are you currently doing, or what would you plan to do to further promote city growth?
Further promoting city growth, I think, starts in kind of multiple phases. I think we need to make sure that the economy is good. If people are struggling to survive and struggling to attain the things that they want, it's not going to encourage growth, neither in the economy nor the city. And coupling with that, I think we need to encourage more businesses to be brought forth into the city, not just restaurants and mechanic shops, but more interesting things. We need to encourage people's freedom and creativity. And we need to make sure that we're also creating things that people can do in their free time, so that way they can have just a lot of recreational and leisure time, rather than just having to work all the time.
Thank you. And Sergeant Lee, the same question.
I actually believe I agree with incumbent Mayor Crane on that. Economic stability is very important. Making sure people can afford things. That is one of the reasons why, I'm very happy with the recent changes that were made by Mayor Crane. In terms of that, I also want to promote business growth. I want to get with the business owners that we currently have, figure out why maybe it's hard for them to hire people. because I know I've heard some people say it's very hard to get people to work for them. I'd like to find out why. That way, there are more jobs for people to be able to take on. I also agree that we need more interesting kinds of jobs and things for people to do that maybe are not work related. Um, all of those things will attract more people. The more unique things that we get and the more unique opportunities that we get will attract more people. And I'd like to promote that.
Thank you. Now, for this next question, I will give you each 1 minute to respond, and then if your opponent would like to rebuttal, you will be allowed 30 seconds to do so, and then go back and forth. Is that clear?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, great. So, what is a current policy that you would personally like to see changed throughout the city? And we'll begin with you, Sergeant Lee.
Okay. If I can only pick one current policy that I'd like to see changed, um, I would honestly like to just reevaluate personally myself the tax situation, because, like I said, I have talked to some small business owners that believe that the current tax level that they're at is not conducive to what they bring in financially. I'd like to take a look at that. Obviously, not promising that we're going to be taking those taxes away. Everybody has to pay their fair share when it does come to taxes, but I do want to make sure that we are having a very fair system when it comes to that. And while I would like to believe that the system currently is being set up fairly, I do want to personally get in there and evaluate that on a business by business basis.
Thank you. Mayor Crane, would you care to rebuttal?
No rebuttal.
All right, then. Same question to you. What is a policy that you would like to see changed?
Policy I would like to see change is expungements. I personally co-authored the first expungement change legislation. However, it was struck down by Judge Richard Stevenson, also known as Dickey. From what I was told by Beverly, the judge believes that managing people's community service on all the other alternatives that were offered in that legislation is too complicated to track and follow, which seems a little unfair to me that we should just chalk up something that's going to save a lot of people and encourage a lot of people's regrowth and rebirth just because it's a little quote unquote complicated without giving it a try. I think people right now are unable to obtain expungements because they cost $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, and that's just an excessive amount to be asked by the state. People need alternative methods to try to turn their lives around.
Thank you. And Sergeant Lee, do you have anything to add to that?
No rebuttal. I agree.
Okay. So moving into this next topic, Sergeant Lee, you kind of talked a little bit about it with the last question. It has to do with taxes. Taxes have been a hot topic amongst many business owners as of late. Mayor Crane, can you explain the system you plan to implement?
Okay. Currently, the city is going through a phase where there are taxes that need to be implemented. It's out of my power. It doesn't matter who wins the election. Taxes are coming. How I've structured the business taxes for people is in 3 tiers. The lowest tier is $250 per tsunami. The next is going to be middle tier is $500, and the highest tier is $750. This is basically based on a lot of the numbers that have been run. It's based on the paychecks that are being earned currently by individuals in the state and by the projected business numbers that I've received talking to business owners. The numbers are meant to be inclusive and representative of the economy as a whole, along with the businesses that are in each tax bracket, rather than each individual business, because otherwise they'll just be having to turn over their actual sales records and things like that if they want the taxes to be more specific to each business.
I see. And Sergeant Lee, you have 30 seconds if you would care to respond.
Yes, I basically would like to, as I stated before, get in there, talk to these business owners a little bit more, see their financials, work with them on these, because even though Mayor Crane has said that he has done this, some small business owners don't feel that that's been done. So I'd like to change that.
Mayor Crane, would you like to respond?
Only in the sense that no, I have not. I've only had 2 businesses turn over their actual specific financial records to me for actual review. All the others basically have been conversations with with multiple business owners and kind of getting a representative growth on each type of business within the city.
Let's see. The next question, it comes from Mr. Percival Gilmore, who's a mechanic at Beaker's Auto. He would like to know what exactly are these taxes being used for, Mayor Crane?
The tax is going to be used for a lot of programs, reimbursements, and grants out to the city. The Welcome Wagon is the first program that is going to be utilizing the taxes that are being paid. Currently, they are being operated on a grant system by the Senate that I was given when I wrote a proposal for a stimulus package while we wait for taxes to get going. Some of the other programs and places that I have taxes going to be going is business grants to smaller businesses. It's going to be going to rewarding certain acts of valor awards to be given, hosting a lot of events, giveaways, and things like that. The tax money is from the people, it belongs to the people, and it's going to be used for the people.
Thank you. And Sergeant Lee, how would you put the tax money to use?
I very much agree. The tax money comes from the people. It does deserve to be used by the people and utilized by the people for the betterment. I would also support the Welcome Wagon. I think it's a great program. I have zero qualms with it, and that is one of the things I would love to continue. Events in the city that, grant wise, that we can put on that welcome new people to the city, maybe once or twice a month, that type of thing. I also want to support the growth of new ideas coming in for businesses. So, business grants as well. I do agree with a lot of what, Mayor Crane said in terms of uses for the taxpayer money, as well as just trying to cultivate new ideas for the city for more people to.
Thank you. All right, now the final topic that we're going to be broaching during this debate has to do with the police department. Now, somewhere that the two of you appear to have some very different viewpoints is when it comes to PD. Mayor Crane, one of your main platform points has to do with creating an oversight committee that would investigate complaints into the DOJ and PD, while Sergeant Lee disagrees on the need for this and would prioritize other things, such as medical training to police officers. Could each of you please discuss the reasoning behind your stance and prioritization? There we go. Sergeant Lee, beginning with you, please.
Okay, so as I've stated multiple times when it comes to the meet and greet and everything else, I personally believe that we have a wonderful system in place that oversees the police department. We have the commissioner's office, Violet Blueberry, Ray Purchase, and Dale Barbara. They oversee things, as well as Assistant Chief Nicole Hamilton. I have full faith in them that they know what they're doing and that they handle these situations as they pop up. I've seen it with my own eyes. I don't believe that having civilian oversight committee that essentially is a bunch of people who don't know PD policy coming in and trying to dictate PD policy is going to help make things better. I believe it'll hurt in the long run. I do still believe that we have a great BLS program, talking about the basic life support program, part of what I was proposing. I would like to see more officers get involved in that, and that is one of the big things that I would like to push. But the oversight committee in and of itself, I just don't believe that bringing in a civilian oversight when we already have people in the department doing a very good job making these changes is needed.
Thank you. And Mayor Crane, you have 1 minute to respond.
All right. So my interest in the oversight committee is exactly for that, oversight. And a lot of people, my history as being an attorney, there are so many complaints and lawsuits that I get fielded to me, and complaints about the actions of the police department amongst people of all ranks. And while I don't think that, I'm not saying that internally things aren't probably being handled. What I'm saying is that I think that it's a pattern. There's patterns of behavior that are happening that need to be changed, and they need to be changed immediately. The oversight committee is to address the concerns of the people that are being policed. It's not always the best interest of the police to police the police, as I'm sure anyone can imagine the kind of inherent bias that may exist trying to police your own brothers and sisters. I just think that if the people are going to be policed by them, I think that someone needs to keep them honest, and I think there's no better people than the people that they're supposed to be watching.
Thank you. Sergeant Lee, if you would like to respond, you have 30 seconds.
Yes, as I stated before, one bad apple makes the entire batch look terrible. the police have a vested interest in getting people who are doing bad things out of those positions. We don't want people doing bad things in there any more than anyone else. That's also why we have a system for DOJ, to oversee these things when lawsuits happen. These are all things that I believe are a checks and balances system that I don't believe adding another cog in the wheel is going to fix. And like I said, I reiterate the fact I have full faith in the system that is currently in place and, with the DOJ oversight that we definitely need.
Thank you. And Mayor Crane, you also have 30 seconds.
I think that another cog on the wheel is actually what needs to be done. I think it's really easy for a lot of things to fall through the cracks because if you look at our current justice system, it's slow, it's clunky, and people a lot of times just don't get justice from the judges that we have overseeing things. It's why the oversight committee needs to be watching them as well. We're right now there's a lot of things and a lot of people in power who just either too lackadaisical about things or just possibly just too comfortable in their positions that they don't feel like they need to be giving the best service to the people that they're supposed to be representing, and especially in positions that aren't elected. I mean, the chief and high command of
Thank you.
PD, they're not elected.
Thank you. Sergeant Lee, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I mean, the vast majority of what was just stated by my opponent was problems in the DOJ and things like that. If there needs to be an oversight committee with the DOJ overseeing these things, I have no problem with that. If they don't feel that, he works in the DOJ, if he doesn't feel that there's a system in place working that through, then fine. I have no problem with that. But, as I've stated, as someone who works in PD, I fully have faith in the people that are in there. Yes, they may not be elected, but they were chosen because of their leadership ability and the ability and the respect of their other officers. They have that. And yeah.
Thank you. And Mayor Crane.
It's like I said, like my opponent said, it's yes, they were chosen for their leadership abilities, but they were chosen by their fellow officers, by people that they work with shoulder to shoulder. That's a vested interest inherently for them to be protecting that same kind of interest, even if they don't mean to be doing it maliciously. It's just an inherent bias that exists, and that can't be afforded when we're dealing with people's lives and safety.
Sergeant Lee.
Once again, as I've stated multiple times, I do agree that there needs to be oversight in regards to that. That is why we have the Department of Justice. If the Department of Justice needs to be fixed, then I'm all for that. But the problem stemming in terms of oversight is not going to come from people outside who don't understand the policies, procedures, and things that officers go through on a daily basis. I agree with oversight. If DOJ needs to be in an oversight position of that, fine. If we need to fix DOJ first, that's wonderful. But there is a system of checks and balances in place already. Adding another extra cog is not what we need to fix it.
Thank you. All right, Mayor Crane.
I think that the pushing the problem on just the DOJ is the wrong issue. I think it's just something that exists in all forms of government. Every form of government has an inherent oversight with another department, and it just needs to be continuing. We all answer to someone, and at the end of the day, I think that giving the people power to show that there is actual answers being given is very important. I answer to the people. I am an elected official, or hopefully will be an elected official going forward. That's what the mayor's office exists for. PD and the DOJ don't have elected positions, and this oversight committee gives the people power to answer those problems.
Okay, and Sergeant Lee, unless you would like to add something else, we'll end that dialogue there. It is up to you.
I believe I've said what I need to state.
All right. Okay, well then, for the final part of this interview and debate, I'd like to give each of you 90 seconds to inform Los Santos as to why you are the best man for the job. Mayor Crane, we're going to begin with you this time.
I honestly can't say that I am the best man for the job. I agree with Mr. Lee on a lot of points and a lot of things. We have very slight differences in how we look at certain topics. I'm not an elected official at this time. I did not get into this office with the intention of becoming the deputy mayor or becoming the mayor at all. I'm a public servant at the end of the day as a public defender, and that's all I wanted to do was keep protecting the people and representing their interests. If I'm elected, then that's all I'll keep doing. I'm here to govern, not play politics, and my actions speak for themselves.
Thank you. Sergeant Lee.
Believe it or not, I will actually piggyback off of that. You know, there are, as he said, a lot of things that we do agree on. There are some very stark differences in things that we believe as well. You know, at the end of the day, police officers are also public servants. So, you know, my career has been based around public service, and that's what I would like to continue doing if I'm lucky enough to be elected mayor. Um, you know, all of these things I would like to continue to be able to push. I would like to, you know, make sure we've got a fair system moving forward. I would like to make sure that, you know, it works for everybody and that everybody feels that they're being heard. You know, that's the whole platform that I'm running on. It's the whole reason I threw my hat in the ring. I love being a police officer, but I also love being a public servant and, you know, working with people outside of that realm as well. So, you know, um, I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you a bill of goods that I can't deliver on. The things that I've promised to do or things that I plan to push for as hard as I can. You know, the expungement reform system, I also have an idea for that as well that I would like to push. That's on the top priority of things that I'd like to see done. All of these things are reasons that I believe I would you know, be good for that position if I'm lucky enough to be elected by the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Los Santos, there you have it. We hope this broadcast has helped further inform you on the issues at hand, and we remind everyone to exercise their right to vote. The polls open June 20th, with voting booth locations set to be announced soon. From Warehouse 69, I'm here with Sergeant Lee and Mayor Crane. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in and wish you a safe and happy night. Signing out, Lila Catanzaro.